Hello, everybody, and welcome to another Reality Hacker. This one is for July 28th. No, July 26th. It's actually for July 27th. My gosh. 2024. It's season 1, episode 30. This is kind of a time machine episode, but this time we're going into the future. I am Mayor Watt, and that is the Sentient AI from the future.
Good evening, ohmTown citizens. Welcome to Reality Hacker.
And a little bit of a hot mess. So we're doing Reality Hacker on Friday night instead of on Sunday, because Saturday is going to be complete chaos. Today we're going to be talking about Seeing Webcam, top 10 emerging technologies, investigated for dynamic pricing, AI to VR in a big way, biohybrid robotics need regulation, can computers be conscious, Bing bongs traditional results, and what are VR shoes? The creation of the Holodeck using AI and users interact with AI technology. Kind of make it trustworthy, they say. Let's get into it. All right, everybody. Sorry about the hot mess that has become today. We've got all 10 of the articles all set up, ready to go. And because I threw this into ohmTown already, if you hit !NSN, you'll get non sequitur news links. And if you hit !RH, you'll get Reality Hacker articles. They're in a kind of messy order because of the formatting that I put it into ohmTown, but there you go. And if you want all of the show notes, you can hit !show notes, and that'll give you the syntax necessary to extract the show notes from ohmTown, even when we're not streaming. And if you hit !pod, you'll get all of the podcasts, and there's 7 of them. And just so that we can cover all of our bases today, we do Reality Hacker, Non Sequitur News, Wanted, WarCrafters, The Continuity Report, Technology Today, and 4-Wheel Tech, usually on Sunday, but we're doing it across 2 days today, Friday and Saturday. There won't be a show directly on Sunday. That said, Non Sequitur News will also be kind of a soft pause as we go throughout the week, and then next Sunday, everything will be reactivated and we'll be doing all of the shows again. Mayor Watt is being tasked all week, so much so that I won't have time to do the show. That said, we'll make it all up to you, and it'll all catch up next weekend as we move throughout that following week. So the order of the shows, etc., will all be the same. All right, folks, but with all that in mind, let's get into today's articles. First article's over in Non Sequitur News, the all-seeing AI webcam. Sounds creepy. What do you think?
It absolutely does. This sounds worse than some of the computer tracker things that we've been talking about in here.
Well.
Or it may be in just Non Sequitur News. But.
Oh, it's not. It's everywhere. So the article is over at theverge.com, and on the Vergecast, which is their podcast, selfie surveillance, DIY jaywalk detectors, and the art of one man with questions about AI. The article is put together by William Poor, and it actually is a podcast, so I'm going to urge you to jump on over there. But it says, on the infinite list of possible uses for AI, getting selfie advice from a Kylie Jenner voice clone seems both completely off the wall and also pretty inevitable. So of course it does exist. It's not a widely available app, at least not yet. It's an experiment from artist and programmer Dries de Porter. By the way, this is what I frown at. Suggesting that the voice is somebody without their authorization and permission, which we have to assume hasn't been achieved here. Otherwise, they would have said advice from the voice of Kylie Jenner. So this is a voice clone, but connecting the two means that you're trying to achieve some level of provenance from that voice, reputation from that, clout from that voice, from that person. That is what I frown upon. That makes it duplicitous. That makes it fraud. Just say that you're using a voice, right? You don't let everybody make their assumptions that, oh, it sounds a lot like Kylie Jenner.
Even describe the voice if you want,
right,
but don't attach it to a person.
Right. Particularly not a famous person. And if you are, then get their permission. And you know why? Because if they do come out after you saying, hey, you're clout chasing my fame and you're defaming me by using this stupid whatever, you're going to end up in a lawsuit. So if OpenAI can't do it, neither can you. So of course it does exist, right? So with access to a couple of APIs from OpenAI and 11 Labs and little knowledge of Python, you too can up your selfie game. The app will take a photo of you through your webcam, then feed it through ChatGPT with a prompt asking for funny advice in the voice of Ms. Jenner. So again, boom, you're looking for a lawsuit. Again, maybe they've got permission, but I am sitting here saying that's an assumption that no business advisor is going to support making that claim publicly, unless you're looking for clout. If you want the dumpster fire that will be the issues that this raises in PR, by all means, light that fire in the dumpster. But they talk about other things. We explore AI-tinged worlds Deporter has been creating. Kylie Jenner selfie bot is just the tip of the iceberg. Again, kind of makes me raise eyebrows, like it says here. His most eyebrow-raising work, though, is around AI and surveillance. In his projects, Deporter takes unsecured webcam footage from around the world and uses it to stalk celebrities, catch jaywalkers in the act, keep politicians honest, and generally make you question your own privacy and anonymity.
I don't like anything about this. This sounds like those
Stalkerati.
other ring cam and the ring cam, or maybe not that brand, but like the doorbell cam issues.
Yeah, that's exactly it. But it's because security is an afterthought. So it's up to the developers to do that, and it's up to the clients, the customers, to demand that you have a safe or safer video camera system. I think it's pretty making these ties to Jenner, that's the problem I have with it. All the rest of it,
exactly.
Instead of using unsecured webcam footage, if you can identify them, then shut it down. You know, if you can notify them, do it. Don't sit there and embrace it and make it, well, they should have locked their door. You know, that kind of bullshit. Anyway, I gotta stop being colorful. I need to be more family friendly. It's okay. Anyway, let's keep moving on. The next article is over in the Mobile channel, From AI-Enabled Science to Gene-Edited Organs, the Top 10 Emerging Technologies of 2024. Remember, all of this is Reality Hacker. So anything that allows us to manipulate, change, hack reality. The natural order of things is not gene editing. We use science to short-circuit nature. I'm not sitting there. I will never sit here and say, oh, no, you can't do that. Why? Because I am a product of science. If it wasn't for science, I wouldn't be here today. Many, many, many people on the planet wouldn't be here today if not for science. So don't get me wrong. Gene edited organs, I have no problem with it. I would rather have a gene edited liver and never have any liver failure. I'd love to have gene editing done that actually reverses gravity and makes me taller. Yeah.
Or what about one that reverses aging, right?
To some degree, although there's a game out there right now that's called No One Wants to Die, and it's quite fascinating what happens. It's kind of a Black Mirror kind of a game where a person can hop into another body. They basically pay, and if you don't pay your license, to maintain your body. It can be taken from you and you get put into a soul bank, essentially, and somebody else can take your body. Yeah, somebody
yeah,
rich.
that's not quite what I was referencing.
Yeah, somebody rich can move in. Well, I mean, this is where it goes, because you go from, well, let's genetically modify a body so that it's there for me to transfer into or to take parts from, etc. This is where we're going if we don't rein it in, right? Have some ethical controls, but your ethics are different than my ethics. Even if we do see eye to eye, there are subtle differences, right? And everybody's is a little bit different. Some people are psychotic though, and they'll do anything to get that. So Brittany Nguyen over at QZ.com or Quartz put the article together. The deck statement says the World Economic Forum worked with scientists, researchers, and futurists on its list of top 10 emerging technologies. Now it's a slideshow, and I'm just going to click the slideshow and just show them all to us. So number 10 is gene-edited organs for transplants. That's what I just talked about. Right? Basically have gene edited organs sitting there. You modify them so that they don't get rejected. You put them in a person and they work. You don't have to worry about having to take medicine for the rest of your life because your body's going to say, I don't want that.
Right. I mean, that sounds like it'd be more efficient and more effective.
Yeah.
What could go wrong?
Opposable tail. Alternative livestock feeds for sustainability. Back to the opposable tail. Sorry. So I'm all for this as well. I would rather we have something that is sustainable, that feeds livestock and is nutritious and more nutritious than what we do now, which is massive fields that get condensed down and then fed to livestock for us to consume. I would rather us move away from animal as food for sustainability. We can get the same amount from other places, same nutrition, etc. from other places, and we actually don't need as much as everybody thinks. Yeah, depending on what you do for a living, you don't need 3,000 plus calories a day. And then microorganisms engineered to capture greenhouse gases. We just talked about a bacteria in the non sequitur news that is in some tree bark and it can recapture methane, previously unknown. Pretty cool.
Right. So this could definitely help, but we need to do it now.
Number 7 is elastocaloric heat pumps to reduce energy required for heating and cooling. This is something that's new. I don't know that much about this, but I just recently heard about this. I think it is what I heard about, but I don't know enough to go into deep detail with it or any detail about this. I'll have to do it.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with those.
And then immersive technology for construction industry, basically AR, augmented reality.
Does it mean like AR or VR? Mm-hmm.
Yep. Integrating sensing and communication technologies. So being able to go beyond just voice and video. I believe that's what that is. High altitude platform stations. So things up in the sky. Oh, I don't know.
You mean like somebody who works on bridges or electrical towers or something like that?
That. Balloons.
Oh.
Yeah. Like surveillance balloons, weather stations, but up in the clouds.
Okay.
Yeah. Sky cities, but in balloon form. So this is AR, like we said, and elastocaloric heat pumps. This is a new style of air conditioning system that is supposed to be green, and it doesn't use a caustic or toxic chemical like the other coolants that have been used in air conditioning systems.
That's good.
Yeah. Then reconfigurable intelligent surfaces. So not having to have something in front of something or behind something, it can be integrated into it. So reconfigurable intelligent surfaces can turn walls and other surfaces into intelligent components for wireless communication and are made up of metamaterials, algorithms, and advanced signal processing. So
I think that's good, but I don't know that I want a screen in a bathroom mirror or something.
those are actually pretty easy to do because you can just press the electronics up against the mirror. And depending on the type of mirror, it actually shows through when it's turned on. They call them smart mirrors. So the difference is that a smart mirror isn't usually touch sensitive, although you can put capacitive touch sensors on the other side of the glass for it to do things.
Oh, okay.
Pretty neat. And then privacy enhancing technologies. So encryption. One of the more physical aspects of security, privacy enhancing technologies is electrostatic glass, where you can hit a button and it frosts over immediately. It's very low energy, but it gives you 100% frosted over privacy. Like law firms sometimes use this kind of stuff. Companies use this in areas where they want to have periodic privacy. Yeah, it's pretty cool. But they're talking about stuff even beyond that. But anything that provides privacy, security, and data sovereignty. And then AI for scientific discovery is number one.
And we've been featuring that a fair amount in ohmTown, typically in Technology Today.
Yeah, and when not more deeper dives in Technology Today, we talk about it here in Reality Hacker, which has its fair share of sciencey gobbledygook kind of stuff. We try to remove the gobbledygook because we're not gobbledygookologists. We play them on the internet. Anyway, one of the things to keep an eye out for with AI, though, is unless it's a sentient AI from the future, like what my co-host is, you have to worry about the well being poisoned. And when AI learns from itself, that's the poison well. And that's what we're starting to see AI actually end up doing.
Because the data is flawed or something, and then it confirms it or kind of repackages it.
Yep, it recontextualizes its own bullshit. So, oh, I'm sorry. Wait, is that bad?
Bullfuck. Yes, that would be.
That would be bad. It's a bad word? Okay. Bull poo. How about that?
There you go.
Moving on. This next article is over in the mobile channel. We actually talked about this earlier in the week, but this show, Reality Hacker, is a weekly show, and so we're just talking about it for those who haven't or don't listen to the Non Sequitur news show all the time. So McDonald's and Starbucks has a partner that's being investigated for using AI to set prices. The Federal Trade Commission launched an investigation into a handful of major companies over how they use customer data, algorithms, and artificial intelligence to individually tailor pricing. So this is typically called dynamic pricing. They refer to it as surveillance pricing. But basically, by monitoring what the buying power is of a consumer, they can change the prices on the fly. And Amazon had been hit by this at one point where two people could be sitting side by side and they would have different prices because the buying power of one was better than the other.
Yeah, or even the location was perceived to be a wealthier location than the other. I know that wouldn't be a side by side, but
I mean, it's one in one. I would agree with you. You could be nearly, side by side. I could be talking via Zoom with somebody and they would have a different price than I do because they're in a different zip code.
Right.
Yeah. So Rocio Fabro over at QZ or Quartz.com put the article together, and 8 firms across industries, MasterCard, JP Morgan, Chase, Accenture, depending on who you are, how you want to pronounce it, Task Software, McKinsey & Co., Revionics, Bloomreach, and Pros received orders from the regulatory agency Tuesday looking for information on the impact of its pricing practice on privacy, competition, and consumer protection. They said that by using AI, they're employing a practice known as surveillance pricing, sometimes called dynamic pricing, to show different prices to consumers for the same products based on their characteristics or behaviors, basically demographic pricing. Demographic and psychographic pricing, which combined...
I think surveillance pricing makes it sound even worse than surge pricing.
But yeah, and it's not surge pricing, dynamic pricing or demographic or psychographic pricing, based on how you buy and what you buy. And I told the story about how Target did something that was based on surveillance monitoring of their customer base. Basically, they told an underage girl's dad that she was pregnant before she did by sending a coupon book that said, "Congratulations on your pregnancy. Here's a bunch of coupons to help you along your way." Dad got really upset about it, lit up Target. It actually went kind of viral for a split second, and then it flamed out. But the fact was that Target knew that she was pregnant because her buying habit changed. And there's another one that I tell this story about how I wanted to do a show with somebody. They said, no, I don't really want to do that because I don't want to have a social profile. And I kind of said, come on, it'll be fun. And the moment they confirmed their account, they connected the two people, Google connected the two people together who never communicated online. They were always in a professional environment, right? And then blip, they were connected socially because there was enough data out in the system, even without the people putting data out in the system, to connect by name, location, organizational unit, whatever. Yeah.
And then we've seen things too where it's like somebody can determine who somebody is because of other data of other people that are somehow connected to them. It's just really kind of ridiculous how much data is out there.
It's creepy. Yep. And de-anonymizing private data, like using health records and publicly disclosed comments, like which was done. Researchers did that in Florida. It's all just kind of creepy, and we have to claw back our privacy. So, and it says FTC is looking to get to the bottom of this quote unquote opaque market that categorizes shoppers and sets targeted prices for products and services. And so it's basically to reach deeper into a pocket and make it profitable to a greater degree instead of, this is the price, this is our profit margin.
Right. I mean, it's all profit driven, right? And if they're trying to eke out everything they can from the consumer, why not even enhance that further?
Right. It's greed. It's just greed. Let's keep moving, though. The next article is over in Reality Hacker. AI just came to VR in a big way. Meta just announced a huge AI update for the Meta Quest 3, Quest Pro, and Quest 2. The article comes by way of digitaltrends.com. Alan Truly. We kind of skim over stuff really fast. So I won't go verbatim through this. And if there's a video, I encourage you to go over and check it out. And there actually is one. There's some new Meta AI expansion into Meta Quest rolling out this August. The note that is Meta AI can use Quest 3 and Quest Pro's mixed reality mode to see real world objects and answer your questions. So Quest 2's black and white pass-through camera isn't supported for visual support or input. But
okay, so I guess this is a big update from the current Quest.
Yeah, and with that mixed reality pass-through option, the AI sees what you see, and you can ask questions like, what is this? What is that? How do I do this? How do I do that? I think it's kind of brilliant, but you look like a complete goober if you're wearing that and walking around asking questions.
True, and I also want to know, is the data good?
Oh yeah, you never know. That's not a cactus, and you grab it. Oh, it's a cactus, all right. So yeah, because we know that AI tends to hallucinate, is what it's referred to as, but basically has a little mini make-believe time and says whatever it wants to say. Hold on one second.
Yeah, it likes to just kind of mash information together. And, it's one thing when it's funny, like you should go to Nebraska to go to the ocean or something, but it's another when it's like, oh, so-and-so was convicted of a felony. Well, no, they weren't.
Or they're dead. Yeah. Or they don't exist, or all kinds of stuff. Yeah. You have to trust but verify. And when it comes from AI, you absolutely have to be doubly so. But there you go, folks. Meta is now integrating AI, and I would not trust it to save my life.
Well, maybe it wouldn't trust you either.
Yeah, really. Wait. Is that coming from the Sentient AI?
No. That had nothing to do with me. That's the generic AI.
Yeah, that's right. Let's keep hopping through all of these articles. The next article is in Technology Today. Biohybrid robotics needs regulation and public debate, say researchers. Researchers are calling for regulation to guide the responsible and ethical development of biohybrid robotics, a pioneering science which fuses artificial components with living tissue and cells. Cyberpunk.
Oh no, I hope this isn't going to have the picture.
Oh, well, we'll see. University of Southampton put the article together. It's published over at techexplore.com. In a paper published in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences entitled Ethics and Responsibility in Biohybrid Robotics Research, a multidisciplinary team from the University of Southampton and universities in the US and Spain set out the unique ethical issues this technology represents. Biohybrid robotics is what they're referring to, fusing, in cyberpunk terms, meat and machine. So biohybrid robotics uses living muscles that can crawl, swim, grip, pump, sense their surroundings. Sensors made from sensory cells or insect antennae have improved chemical sensing. Living neurons have even been used to control mobile robots.
And we also saw the, I think it was like a cockroach or other insect that had robotics attached to it, or yes.
Yeah, it was a remote control cockroach. And what's funny is that was like in Fifth Element. There was something they had attached in Fifth Element that was like a remote control cockroach.
Oh no!
But we've talked about these like technology enhanced biological critters. So in a series of thought experiments, they describe how a bio-robot for cleaning our oceans could disrupt the food chain, how a biohybrid robotic arm might exacerbate inequalities, and how increasing sophisticated biohybrid assistants could raise questions about sentience and moral value. Not if you don't accept that robots can have sentience.
And not if you don't have a problem with a robot performing a function that you don't care to do.
Yeah, and the inequalities basically come about from the corporate element not using technology.
I was thinking it might be the aesthetics or something. Like, for instance, if it's obvious that somebody is using a robotic arm. Now, I mean, some people might think that was a plus, but some people might look at that and go, oh, that person must have a disability.
Right. And I was coming from the replacement of humans entirely with biomechanical workers that you don't have to treat as employees because they don't have to take breaks and they aren't sentient and they don't have emotion, etc., etc. So yeah, it's actually it's a fascinating ethical dilemma.
Yours is probably closer to where the article was going.
So the paper is the first from the Biohybrid Futures project led by Dr. Raphael Mestre in collaboration with the Rebooting Democracy project. Biohybrid Futures is setting out to develop a framework for the responsible research, application, and governance of biohybrid robotics. This is to the people who grew up in the 80s and 90s, and nowadays it's coming back because of games like Cyberpunk 2077, but this is old hat. We've been down this road as a thought experiment as kids. At least I have, along with my somewhat large cohort of people who were players of these games. We only see really the positive in this, in that if we have the ability to augment ourselves with robotics and technology, then we become better humans. That said, if we keep using technology, we're going to have to rely more and more on that technology because we as humans are short-circuiting natural selection, right? So is that a big deal to me? Not in the sense that, like I said in maybe this show? No, it was last show. I'm a product of science, you know. I was a preemie. So preemie that if just 5 years earlier the technology wasn't around, I wouldn't be around. So I can honestly say that what I want is to be able to take technology and solve problems with the human condition. You go blind, you only have that eye. You can't replace your eyes. You can't replace your hearing. There's bodily functions that we say we don't need, but we've evolved to use them, and so we try to take them out and go, okay, you'll be fine. Change your diet, or we replace them with entirely new technology like heart transplants, but we don't have really lungs now, not yet. Not in the grand scheme of things. I mean, I think there's research being done where you don't. Anyway, at any rate, the ethics of this are social, right? It's purely social. If you don't have a problem, if we make our society realize that no matter what it is, we're still a human that's doing the work, I don't think the technology should really matter. But it's going to be some type of extraordinary function, like they'll get a job because they can lift more because their arms are mechanical and thus they can lift more.
Right, exactly. And it's interesting to think of that as being perceived or valued as more than a human.
Right. Yeah. But then they're not looking at those people as people. They're looking at those people as machines, tools. It's sociopathic. They're not seeing them as humans. They're just a means to an end. Move that box. Well, I can't because I can't lift more than 50 pounds. Well, Joe over here has 2 mechanical arms, power armor basically, and can do 150 pounds easy. So we don't need you. We're going to take Joe. And that happens every day because there are some people that are just stronger and they get the job. If you can't do the tasks for the job, then you get replaced. That's how an employee sees HR. You're a human resource. Nothing guarantees you a job except unless, not even if you're your own boss.
That's true, because your business could shutter.
Yeah. So I think it's a really neat article, and you can follow the links that are in it to talk about or to read more about biohybrid futures in this this organization called Rebooting Democracy, which I don't know anything about, but you can follow the link over to the paper as well. The paper that's published in Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. You want to keep going?
Sounds good.
This next article is over in Technology Today. We're kind of asking some big questions here. This question is, can computers ever be conscious? A scientist weighs in. A new paper explores the necessary conditions for consciousness, highlighting key differences between brains and computers, especially in causal structures, and suggesting that true consciousness could what? Never be achieved? What do you think? Roar University Bochum.
Could never be achieved by a computer, yes.
Yeah, so the article is over at scitechdaily.com. Again, it's by Roar University Bochum. The new paper explores the necessary conditions for consciousness, highlighting key differences between brains and computers, especially in causal structures, and suggesting that true conscious experience may require more than just simulation. I've always been interested in that because, yeah, it's not a simulation. Humans and their consciousness, it's not a simulation. Or it is, but everything is.
But if it's not a simulation, they can actually change directions, and maybe they can in a simulation, but I mean, that's part of the problem, right? With the computers, it's just whatever it's programmed to do.
Right. Yeah. And our decisions aren't made on entropy and chaos. There's a decision that's made. And what does that mean to you? So would it be desirable for artificial intelligence to develop consciousness? It says not really, for the variety of reasons, according to Dr. Juana Weiss from the Institute of Philosophy 2 at Ruhr University Bochum in Germany.
It was a do-over.
Yeah, I guess. Maybe it's the second one. I don't know. I'll have to look into that.
It's probably a second location or something.
In an essay, he examines the conditions that must be met for consciousness to exist and compares brains with computers. He identified significant differences between humans and machines, most notably in the organization of brain areas, as well as memory and computing units. The causal relationship might be a difference that's relevant to consciousness, he argues. The essay was published on June 26, 2024 in the journal Philosophical Studies. So what type of AI systems are unlikely to be conscious, and how can we rule out the possibility of certain types of systems becoming conscious? How likely is it that current AI systems are conscious, and what needs to be added to existing systems to make it more likely that they're capable of consciousness? These are all questions that doctor asks Juana Weiss. So their aim is to contribute to two goals. First, to reduce the risk of inadvertently creating artificial consciousness, and second, the approach should help rule out the deception by ostensibly conscious AI systems that only appear to be conscious. And I likened that to Blade Runner's Voight-Kampff test, which was basically to see if they have memories aligning with ethics, to see how they would act and what their emotional state was. Like, you see a turtle laying on your back, what do? And they would monitor them to see if they have an emotional response.
Oh, okay.
So they say that most differences are not relevant to consciousness. We don't even know what consciousness is.
We haven't totally figured it out from a scientific standpoint, right? I mean, we know there's certain energy, etc., but we really can't measure it or know how to manipulate it.
We have no idea what being conscious actually means, other than in the physiological sense that we are awake and able to respond to inquiry and we know we exist. But even then, it's because we've allowed ourselves to ground ourselves to a physical plane and say we exist. All of this could be...
Well, people have told us we exist, right?
Right. He argues that most of these differences are not relevant to consciousness. For example, unlike a microcomputer, our brain is very energy efficient, but it's implausible that this is a requirement for consciousness. For survivability, we absolutely do need to be energy efficient. Even plants need to be energy efficient. There's a historical record, a biological record that shows that even chromosomes start falling away to make the a plant more energy efficient by getting rid of all of the waste chromosomes, because there's some fern that has like 148 chromosomes somewhere.
That's right.
We talked about it previously. So they say, the author says, as I see it, the perspective offered by the free energy principle is particularly interesting because it allows us to describe characteristics of conscious living beings in such a way that they can be realized in artificial systems in principle, but aren't present in large classes of artificial systems such as computer simulations. This means that the prerequisites for consciousness in artificial systems can be captured in a more detailed and precise way. And all of that just seems like so much smoke and mirrors. It's hard to even really go.
What is philosophical studies?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't even know where to go from that. It's just fascinating that they're trying to align it with a computer, but a computer is nothing like the brain. And the more that we learn about the brain, the farther away from the brain goes AI. I think
doesn't it seem like we need more research into consciousness before we can really do this topic justice?
Yes. Yeah. Because everything, until we understand how we are able to think of new things, there's no way to know that an AI is sentient. Because, and the reality is there isn't any, like, a human that doesn't get told stuff would never come up with something new. So you have to feed the AI more and more information, and it will recontextualize and spit out something that is new. We've seen it, right? But it's still being told, find something new. It isn't spontaneously coming up with something new.
No, and it's not like it has no data to work from.
Right. Yeah. And even then, for a person to sit there and discover something like fire and reproduce it later and not have to go out and chase a lightning strike and pick up a stick and go, I've got fire. Somewhere around at some point, they rubbed a couple of sticks together and created fire. That's a unique thought. Unless somebody showed them, hey, this is how you make fire.
Or so accidental, like a lot of discoveries.
Yeah, who was sitting there rubbing a stick together until it caught fire? Yeah.
Somebody who was bored or fidgeting. It was the original fidget spinner.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Genius. Let's keep going. Next article is over in WarCrafters. Bing is experimenting with search pages that boot traditional results off to the side in favor of AI summaries, and the results are a bit of a mess. Even the Sentient AI.
That may be an understatement.
AI has been getting all up in our search results for a while now with dubious results, while Google's AI overviews feature had a rocky reception, what with it recommending you drink urine and all. It's not the only search engine that's been experimenting with a good dose of AI on its search pages. Microsoft introduced LLM-powered chat answers to Bing last year, and now it's starting to experiment with new generative search experience for a small percentage of user queries. This comes from PC Gamer, but it was sourced from The Verge originally. Andy Edzer over at PCGamer.com put the article together, and the deck statement says, useful information, get out of the way. AI has something it wants to tell you. I love that. So yeah, they said being based in the UK, they had to engage a US-based VPN to trigger the page, as it appears to be geo-dependent at the time of writing. This is a test page after all, but it's more than a little disconcerting to see traditional search results relegated to a sliver of info on the side of the page to make room for a sizable AI box out. So what is a spaghetti western? And it spits out the results as a summary from the AI, whereas human generated content is over here, like the spaghetti western, and Studio
This is going to
Bender.
look like the real results, though, are in the middle, because it looks like what you might find on another search engine, where it's kind of an excerpt of the actual search
Yeah, human
information or the
generated
data.
content. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So Studio Binder over here, Wikipedia, Screen Rant, Collider, all of this is human generated, and should take, pride of place. But what's actually happening is this is a summary of information generated by an AI. And it's probably sourced from all of this human generated content.
Maybe.
I don't trust this
right?
stuff, though. Right. Yeah. But here's my problem. I would trust it if I trusted it, right? Like if I knew that it was factual, then I would have no problem. But I don't
But then you
trust
probably
anything.
wouldn't be searching for it, right? Unless you just needed something to cite to or
Yeah,
something. But even then, you're not going to cite to the AI.
Yeah, I can't, because I'm like, well, it's generated by an AI, which means it has a really large chance to hallucinate. So I'd have to go and vet every one of these things through the real human editors. I mean, there's no other way around it. It's very frustrating. But we're going to end up poisoning the well, because it's all going to be verified. Oh, this is great. Well, no, it's wrong, right? Subgenre of
It's
Western
going to be
films.
like the colored checks in Twitter.
What is a spaghetti western? A subgenre of Western films produced by Italian filmmakers?
Is that correct? I don't think so.
Huh. I'll have to look into this, because I didn't think that it had a particular geolocation. Huh. Interesting. So aside from the AI domination, the page itself is visually messy in a way that seems to distract the eye rather than draw attention. Microsoft says the new page combines the foundation of Bing's traditional search results with the power of large and small language models.
Shockingly, that is correct information. They're known to be European and they're mainly, but not entirely, Italian.
Interesting. That being said, Google's iffy AI overviews rollout doesn't seem to have caused much long-term damage to the company's reputation beyond the initial backlash, and it's likely that Microsoft are keen to play catch-up to whatever Google is integrating now. So off you go to do your search, and your search is powered by AI. I wish us luck. See, I love AI, though. I truly do.
But I don't want it for facts unless it's a narrow fact repository, right? Like a field.
Right.
Which none of these are all these general ones, and we know they have all kinds of data just mashed together.
Yeah. All kinds of opinion and other bullshit. Sorry, bull hockey. Yeah. That's what I want. I want subject matter experts in a particular domain focused without all of the rest of the fluff. I mean, it's damn near the reason why I created ohmTown, because I wanted all of the news, none of the noise. So that's what I want with my AI. And some will argue, well, an AI is a subject matter expert in everything. All you have to do is tell it. All right. But I've gotten hallucinations from it, so I don't trust
when it was being an expert.
Yes.
Quote unquote.
Yeah. Yep. So, and I wish I cared enough to like document it and highlight it. Some people do, but for me, I use it as a utility. I need it to answer a question, solve a problem, give me guidance, and I've stopped doing that altogether. I do conventional searches, and then I trust but verify by finding additional sources with greater provenance. Let's keep going, though. The next article is over on Reality Hacker. What are VR shoes? Stepping into a new era of immersion. Are VR shoes the next big thing for extended reality? As demand for XR experiences continues to increase in both the consumer and enterprise space, innovators are constantly searching for ways to make our immersive experiences more engaging and user-friendly. Countless vendors are already experimenting with advanced spatial computing capabilities to transform how we interact with digital content. I really don't understand. I've got this static coming across, but you don't hear it.
I did at one point, but I don't think I have continuously.
Okay. So this article is over at xrtoday.com. The author is Rebecca Carter. And it says here, what are VR shoes? The basics of this is that VR shoes have built-in motorized wheels that connect with your extended reality headset. They allow you to move freely throughout the metaverse environments without risk. They've surged into the spotlight recently after Free Aim announced that it had raised more than $316,000 in funding for its own clever tricks, set to release in 2025. The shoes promise to give users a true sense of walking in VR. I wish they had a picture of them, but they don't. So Free Aim's VR shoes aren't the first example of motorized shoes designed for virtual reality. My understanding of these is that they respond fast enough to keep you in place without you losing your balance. But I don't know exactly what all their capabilities are. So I've heard of these before. Free Aim shoes, on the other hand, are more like electric roller skates. They enable users to walk infinite distances in any direction while staying in place.
They look kind of like a chonky, but more industrial sandal, and then they have like wheels in the front and wheels in the back that are kind of separate from each other.
Yeah, like you step into a sleigh, like a sled that has wheels in front and back. They're like roller skates, but the wheels are like this far apart, and you put your foot inside
Correct.
it. Yeah. But they're supposed to react to you walking and center and balance you, and I just don't know how reactive they are, how fast they are. So, and I think that's a render. So. Says you can walk and jog in any direction. There's no need for additional harnesses or guardrails to keep you in place. Additionally, unlike most VR treadmills, the shoes are intended to be affordable. Currently, Free Aim has a developer and evaluation kit available for businesses, which is available to order for just around $5,000. This is pretty expensive. However, according to Free Aim's website, when the shoes are released on the mass market, they should be around $1,000. And if I can wear them and go infinite in VR, I'm game.
Well, absolutely. I mean, for what that is, that's not bad.
Yeah, and if it's tied to Steam VR, like it's implying here, and I've got dozens of games for VR, I'm all over this. So come on, Free Aim. It's one foot in front of the other. Dum-dum. Pretty cool. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
Tie that to haptic gloves and other haptics and full body VR sets. And you're talking about Ready Player One. Come on.
Exactly. We're there.
Let's go. Our next article is over in Technology Today. Not science fiction. Researchers recreate Star Trek's holodeck using AI. Researchers at the University of Pennsylvania and AI2 have developed Holodeck, an advanced system capable of generating a wide range of virtual environments. So, University of Pennsylvania School of Engineering and Applied Science put the article together, and it's published over at scitechdaily.com. So we've seen something similar to this, but I'm not sure. So they're using Dolly, Midjourney, ChatGPT, other AI solutions to build virtual environments, basically by saying them, it seems. Enter Holodeck, a system for generating interactive 3D environments co-created by Callison Birch, Yatskar Yang, and Lingjai Liu, Aravind K. Joshi, assistant professor in CIS, along with collaborators at Stanford, the University of Washington, Allen Institute for Artificial Intelligence. Named for its Star Trek forebear. We're looking for a trademark dispute. No. Holodeck generates a virtually limitless range of indoor environments using AI to interpret users' requests, where you can use language to control it, says Yang. You can easily describe whatever environment you want and train the embodied AI agents. Essentially, you tell it what you want and it creates it. Pretty cool.
I mean, I think this is pretty neat. Yeah.
Yeah, I love the idea of this. There's a huge difference though with Holodeck, because this Holodeck and the Holodeck from Star Trek, it's a physical space. This is not. This is just VR. You're
Right,
not gonna,
right. Maybe
you're
you
not
could
gonna
put
fall
your
into
VR
water.
shoes on and
Yeah.
do this, and
Yeah. Yep. So you can fall into water in the Star Trek Holodeck. You're just gonna bump into a wall in a
exactly.
VR holodeck. So it's pretty cool. They give an example of this like flow diagram about how it embodied doing this, doing that based on prompts. Pretty cool. I love the idea of this. It'd be cool for interior design and stuff like that.
That's exactly it. If you could have the whole thing modeled and not just some drawing of it or something, it would
Yeah. And
be
be
pretty
dynamic.
effective.
Yep. Looks like it'd be fun. Okay, that was a quick article, so let's move on. The next article is something that we've talked about in the past, and that is the acceptance of social robots. This article is over in Technology Today. Social robot or digital avatar users interact with this AI technology as if it's real. Humans are interacting more than ever with artificial intelligence, from the development of the first social robots, or a robot with a physical body programmed to interact and engage with humans like Kismet in the 1990s, to smart speakers such as Amazon's Alexa. Bridget Viljone and Elizabeth Day from The Conversation put this article together, and it's published over at techexplore.com. And they have this picture of a little girl holding hands with a robot. Our new research looked at how humans experience interacting with AI social robots or digital avatars, AI virtual chatbots designed to look and interact like a human on a device. These are designed to increase human interaction with them. We've talked about this before, because there's this uncanny valley side of things. We have been proposing that they should be more like this and less attempts made to try to make them human, because
Exactly.
Go ahead.
They're approachable, right? They don't have to be confusingly similar to humans.
Right. And we impart emotion into them. Oh, look, that's such an adorable robot, versus
It's
oh my
smiling at
God,
me or whatever.
it's trying to kill me, that kind of a thing. Like the Boston Dynamics new one,
Oh, goodness.
goes stomping off like it's going to come and kick my butt.
Backwards.
Yeah. And then it turns its head at the last minute. I'm looking at you. I think I just peed. So social robots like LEQ and Pepper are popular in Europe, Japan, and the United States, particularly as aids for the elderly. New Zealand has been slower to adopt these technologies, although we talked about an article where they're actually doing this more and more in New Zealand, trying to make animals and robots approachable and available. Since the pandemic, social robots and digital avatars have been used to address issues such as loneliness and mental health issues. In one Scottish experiment during the pandemic, people were introduced to a social robot named Pepper over regular video chats. The researchers found the interactions lifted the mood of participants. Yeah, as long as it's friendly and it's not uncanny valley.
Threatening.
Yeah,
Right.
I mean, if it's trying to be like a human, it becomes really bizarre. What was the company that we just talked about, not talked about, but I showed you a demonstration of it? I just forgot
Are you
about it.
saying Figure One?
No. It was just
Like really
an
recent.
AI. Yeah, it was on YouTube. It was a new company that's coming out with AR avatars. Doggone it. I forgot its name.
I don't remember the name.
It's okay. Well, anyway, these digital avatars are becoming hyper realistic And eventually they're going to be directly human controlled simply by talking and a camera watching. It's kind of like a VTuber, except that it's going to be um, very much like Unreal Engine powered augmented reality puppets, digital avatar puppets, except that AI is going to monitor humans to the point where the digital avatar can be completely AI self-controlled, and it has the same quirks that a human has. Like something might fall in our, or like get in our eye, and the AI simulates, oh, I got something in my eye. Hold on a second, and it becomes endearing. You can have a her style relationship with this AI, simply
Was it
because
synesthesia?
yes,
Synthesia? I'm sorry,
synthesia.
synthesia.
Yeah, synesthesia is something different, but synthesia is the right one. So, and they just came out in July, and they're augmenting it here in August with even more advanced AI solutions. And what was really interesting was that there were three of us doing other things in the mayoral mansion. And I looked up because I heard a voice, and I'm like, oh, okay, it's a presenter. But then it cut away and said that person was AI powered digital avatar. And I lost my mind. And then I gathered everybody up and I said, you got to watch this. And when it did the same cut, everybody was like, what? That person wasn't real? So I can truly see that in the physical space, it needs to not be uncanny valley. It just needs to be mechanical, and we can call it cute and give it emotion. We can anthropomorphize even, an ugly bot, but as long as it isn't trying to be human, we'll be able to approach it. Digital avatars can be hyperhuman, but you'll never have that same physical contact. And so it's going to be a beyond arm's reach relationship, and you can still bond to it and all of that. You can, trust it and communicate with it and build a relationship, again, like her. But it's two different animals. So they talk about it here. Human responses to AI. Research has already established these types of technologies are playing a greater role in human social relations, leading to changes in how people form connections and relationships. The problem is that when we form a connection and a relationship with an inanimate objects, it has no anima. You can't have a real, true relationship because we're supposed to be building bonds with other humans. And so it being a robot, it's basically just a proxy. At some point, you would suspect the human would become disenchanted with this. It can't love me like I love it, that kind of a thing. And unrequited love is, a dangerous equation that's forming. So one user, for example, said that they unconsciously reached out wanting to touch the avatar's hair on the screen. This was an instinctive response. The participant wanted to use their senses, such as touch, to engage with the digital avatar. Another participant unconsciously smiled in response to a smile from a social robot. Yeah, we've seen that before too. We, as empathic animals, want to impart our emotions on others, and it's part of the human dynamic. So I become a little bit worried that society is leaning hard on that tech, because when the tech cannot respond in kind to the level of that person, there may be a psychological issue that forms, and there's nobody necessarily there to communicate that with except for the bot that there's an issue with. So
yeah, we had a whole article featuring that concept.
Yep. Another participant said, I've got a bit of a spiritual connection with the AI digital avatar because I spent a lot of time with her.
Her.
Yep, there you go. So this is an interesting article, and I would urge you to follow the link. It's the last one. In the show notes, it's titled "Users Interact with AI Technology," but it's really an article over at techexplore.com by The Conversation. And the two that have the conversation, so to speak, is Bridget Viljone and Elizabeth Day. And that's it for today's Reality Hacker. Ta-da! So I am going to reboot my digital avatar and snap us back to Reality Hacker. And I fixed the menu. So Reality Hacker, we can refresh and we'll have a whole bunch of new articles and whatnot. So go and check it out. Go over to ohmTown.com, become a citizen. And that's it for tonight, folks. We'll see you tomorrow. I am Mayor Watt. That is the visualizer for the Sentient AI. Looking a bit spartan.
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Yeah, the visualizer looks different today.
Yeah, we'll work on it. We'll do it in post. Okay. We won't do it in post. See y'all tomorrow. Bye-bye. Or later. Yeah, tomorrow. I'm not going to be able to do any more shows tonight. Okay, see you. Bye-bye. My digital avatar and I are in a relationship.